Good morning and happy Saturday to everyone. I am Alyssa Taylor Stewart, coordinator with the Long Beach Unified School District RAP Expanded Learning Program. And on behalf of Superintendent Steinhauser, Robert Tagorda, Director of Equity, Access, College, and Career Readiness, members of the Children's Defense Fund of California, Long Beach Forward, public advocates, and Latinos in Action, I would like to welcome you to the 2020 LCAP Community Forum, Directing Resources for Student Success. As I look around, I see many familiar faces. I also see some first-time guests. Whether this is your first or second time attending an LCAP forum, thank you for taking time out from your busy Saturday to be here. Together, we will gain greater understanding about the LCAP and how Long Beach Unified School District is using funds to support student achievement. So what is this LCAP I keep referring to? Well, the LCAP, or Local Control and Accountability Plan, is a 3-year district-level plan that is updated annually. The plan describes the district's key goals for students, as well as the specific actions, included related expenditures, the district will take to achieve the goals, and the means or metrics used to measure the progress. The LCAP addresses the needs of all students, including specific student groups: English learners, foster youth, and low-income students, as well as the needs of specific racial and ethnic groups. In addition, the LCAP must address 8 priority areas that include student achievement, school climate, student access to a broad curriculum, and parent engagement. A requirement in the development of the LCAP is to solicit input from key stakeholders. That is why your presence today is so important, to learn as well as have an opportunity to give input. At our last LCAP event in December, UCLA professor Dr. Pedro Noguera emphasized the importance of parent and community involvement and engagement, especially in regard to the district decision-making process. He further stressed how this involvement can transform schools and directly impact student success. The LBUSD LCAP forums are a special and unique opportunity for all stakeholders to have their voices heard and contribute to the goals supporting positive student outcomes. So now that you all are all LCAP experts, please turn and talk to your neighbor, introduce yourself, your connection to Long Beach Unified School District, and share something that you already know about the LCAP, as well as something you hope to learn today. Don't be shy, turn and talk. Okay, some of you had some very robust conversations, so I can't wait to hear some of the things you shared with your new neighbors. So who would like to share out some things you already know about the LCAP or something you're hoping to learn today? Don't be shy. Here we go. Thank you.
Well, let me begin by extending my good morning to all my new friends and also my colleague from Cambodia. You know, we recently moved from Cambodia, and I also get the opportunity to talk with Denise, my neighbor here, and really find out about her 2 young daughters who excel in the school. So this is very complimentary. And we've been talking about, I cannot even say the name, but Local Control Accountability Plan Community Forum. I'm really impressed with, you set up a conference today to bring us up to date and to raise us some more awareness of what we can do, and especially the opportunity to learn from you and also to listen from our concern. Personally, my son is going to school at Claire Batten, and he's on M&M Special Aid. And we continue to learn about how to work with special aid. So I'm really interested here to learn more about how Long Beach School District contribute, some more resources, some more output to make sure that special aid education also have a voice, to contribute in the development of the generation here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. I will say, as a former special education teacher, our district does an excellent job in supporting our students and connecting with our parents and making sure our parents' voices are heard. So thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate it. Who else would like to share? Please. Anybody else like to share something they know about the LCAP or something they're hoping to gain, information they're hoping to gain today? Yes, Mr. Benitez.
Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we have 3 of your school board members here this morning. I just want to emphasize how important it is to hear your perspectives, your thoughts, your recommendations, because that's what we base our decision making on. So to all of you in attendance, and for those of us that weren't able to be here this morning, it's just an affirmation that these are the opportunities to move our district forward. Your recommendations matter, and they result in concrete funding and policy issues that we consider. So just want to express my appreciation as a board member for your commitment to want to advance our district forward.
Thank you so much. So just to let you know, today's agenda is quite full, and it is meant to provide you with opportunities to dive deep into the areas of academic achievement, school climate and student engagement, as well as parent engagement. As you explore the data and listen to the presenters, I encourage you to actively participate, openly communicate, and freely share your questions and ideas with others. Remember, this is an opportunity for participants to gather information from the district, as well as a chance for the district to learn from each of you. So again, thank you for making the time and effort to be here. We ask that you stay with us through the afternoon, because we'll be having lunch, number one, but also because that is an opportunity for you to share your voice. We'll be voting on some very important LCAP recommendations. Some brief housekeeping notes. The restrooms will be located in the 500 building, which is outside and around the building to our left. Breakfast items will remain on the tables until about 11 o'clock, and of course, lunch will be served around noon. Also, please make sure whenever you have a comment or you want to share an idea that you're on mic, because we are being live streamed, and so in order for your voice to be picked up, we want to make sure your comments are heard by everyone. We need you on mic. So if you're going to say something, we'll be bringing the mic to you to make sure. So thank you so much, and enjoy today's activities. And now we'll have Jolene and Nicole.
Good morning. Wow. I'm excited to be here. How about you, Nicole?
I am too. Good morning, everyone.
So I am Jerlene. I am a Long Beach Unified School District parent. I am a mother of 4. I also attended Long Beach Unified Schools, and I'm part of this committee, the LCAP Community Committee, that helped put together this forum, and I'm really excited to be here. And Nicole?
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Gon-Ochi. I work for Public Advocates, which is a civil rights organization. I'm an attorney. I'm a mother of 2, 4 and a 7-year-old, and LBUSD. So sadly, I'm not a Long Beach parent. But I'm happy to be here today.
All right, so I think I had too much coffee this morning, so if I'm moving around too much, just please excuse me. So, why are we here today? First of all, how many of you had an opportunity to attend the Nogara event back in December? Wasn't that an amazing event? So we're here to connect the dots. When he was here, he talked to us about transforming schools, creating schools that are responsive to school needs. And one thing that really stuck out to me was he said, a good education is like good food. You want more. So today we are here to, one, share with you, to talk about how to transform LBUSD schools through the LCAP and to learn how to get some good food out of it. We are going to answer 3 questions in like the next 8 minutes. What is the local control funding formula, LCFF? What is the local control accountability plan, LCAP? What do LCFF and LCAP have to do with transforming LBUSD schools? So you've probably heard that tossed around for years, and you're like, what is that? Well, today, we hope that when you leave, you will know and understand how you are part of it. All right, what is the local control funding formula? In 2013, because of the people, to address racialized de-investments in public education, California changed the way that it started funding schools. School funding is now based on who needs it most, not who lives in the best neighborhood, but who needs it most. Districts must work with the community to decide how to spend its money. That's why all of you are here today. Are any of you on the school site council? School site, thank you for serving our community. The school site council is one way that the community gets to decide how the money is spent. Multiple measures of school success, including engagement and school climate. Right now, we are all engaged because we're all here. Later today, we will be talking about school climate. And that's not about air conditioners. All right, Nicole, you're up.
Alrighty, so everyone, you saw that the first thing that changed about the LCFF people-powered win to achieve a more racially just education in California is equity. And this is what changed. Instead of having hundreds of different programs from the state come down to the districts, we now have an equity-based formula so that high-need students, low-income students, English learners, and foster youth generate more money for their districts because there's a recognition that students that experience more barriers to opportunity need more resources to achieve their potential, which is absolutely the same as anyone else who might be born into more privileged circumstances. So this is how the formula works. Every child in California generates this base fund, but high-need students, districts get this extra sort of orange, and then if it's a high concentration district where there's a lot of high-need students, like in Long Beach, like in LAUSD where my kids go, then the district gets that extra sort of yellow as well. And there are some requirements around this. Not a lot, not like before when there were categorical programs, but there is one requirement for these funds. In order to fulfill the sort of mandate of equity, these funds, the orange and yellow funds, they must be used to increase and improve services for the kids who generate them. They should not be used just for across-the-board expenses. They have to be used equitably. And this is a very complicated slide, I'm sorry, but this just tells you sort of how the funding breaks down. That big, colorful pie chart right there is all of Long Beach's money. The blue section is all the money it receives from the state through LCFF. That blue section, you can see like that second circle right there. The gray part is the part that's base. That's what we use to pay to keep the lights on, for teachers, for principals, right? The little blue section, that's the equity dollars. Those are the dollars that have to be used to increase and improve services for high-need students to achieve equity. Again, remember, we're grounded in equity and making sure that all students can achieve their full potential. So next, what is the local control accountability plan? This is a 3-year plan, a 3-year spending plan that addresses student needs and is updated annually. And it's supposed to provide transparency about how districts are spending their money and whether they're making progress towards goals. it must reflect a number of these different priorities. And so one of the reasons why you're all here today is to provide input into the LCAP. And this is an important time because there's a new 3-year LCAP that's being developed this spring, and so your recommendations will have ramifications for at least the next 3 years. So thank you for being here. These are the 8 state priority areas. I'm not going to talk about them because we don't have time, but the ones that are circled: parent involvement, student achievement, student engagement, school climate. These are the things we're going to be focusing on today, and we're going to be breaking out into groups based on these priority areas. And I don't think I have time to go over this section, but basically the LCAP is supposed to tell you what the district did and compare it to what it said it was going to do. It has to tell you what it's planning to do and how much it's spending. It's supposed to tell you how it's using those equity dollars and how your input, stakeholder input, was used to craft this document. And then I'm going to turn it back over to Jerlene.
All right, I think we have about 2.5 minutes left in our 10 minutes. What do LCFF and LCAP have to do with transforming LBUSD schools? All right, LCFF is a tool for school transformation. Students, parents, teachers, and staff understand student need best. So that means we have a voice in it. Districts are required to document our input. So there's different things that happen throughout the school year where this information is collected, different meetings that take place, site rep meetings, the superintendent's forum, different opportunities like this one where information is collected and it is to impact the decision-making process. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see. Student needs are different, and some students have greater needs. LCFF fund requires more funds to be spent on students not thriving under the status quo. So today we're going to be talking about, we're going to go through a process called the data walk. So we're going to be talking about or looking at what those students look like that are not thriving. And LCAP must document how needs of low-income students of color are considered and met. Okay, can everyone open up their packet? You should have a packet. It's going to be in a beautiful blue for the blue skies, red, nice and bold, or nice, calm white folder. All right, now that you have that open, today we are going to understand the needs. Data equity walk, parent panel. Nicole is showing you what to make sure you have. If for some reason you are missing something out of your packet, let us know so that we can get that to you. Understanding what LBUSD is already doing.
So we're gonna, so different Long Beach District staff are gonna come and give some brief updates about what Long Beach is doing in each of these priority areas. And then we're also gonna be learning in our breakout sessions about what Long Beach is doing by studying that together and making recommendations and how Long Beach can kind of change or modify to better serve high-need students. And you will see in here in your packet, there's a bunch of handouts like this that say build your own LCAP. You should actually start looking at those right now. And in the next portion, which is gonna be the data equity walk, you will be filling out parts of this, okay?
And we're going to make recommendations to Long Beach Unified School District on how it can transform our schools. So there's going to be breakout sessions toward I believe after lunch, right? Mm-hmm. So please, we need everyone to stay engaged so that you can be part of that process. And plus, for people who stay, we have hundreds of books that are going to be given out. And I don't know, were opportunity tickets passed out this morning or not yet?
Yes, there is also
the survey. If you return your survey, you may be able to take home one of these beautiful books. All right, now I am turning it over.
Yeah, and the last thing we'll just say is we're out of time, but throughout the day, throughout the morning, think about which breakout group you want to be in. There's the academic achievement one, school climate and student engagement, and parent involvement. So we'll be asking you around lunchtime to start deciding which breakout area to go in. Thank you very much.
I think Mr. Tagorda is up right now.
Good morning, everyone. I have the distinct privilege of being one of the first district speakers to help you understand some of the work that we're doing associated with our LCAP. But before I do so, I just wanted to take a brief moment to step back and formally introduce our board members who are here in attendance right now. We have Dr. Juan Benitez, whom you saw earlier today. Dr. Benitez, if he's still here, he's rotating around. We also have board member Megan Kerr in attendance, and board member Diana Craighead in attendance. So, Mrs. Craighead, thank you for coming. We also have various members of our executive staff here today. Our Deputy Superintendent, Ruth Ashley, is here. Hi, Ruth, how are you? Dr. Christy Kale from our research department is here. And Brian Moskovitz, who represents our elementary schools, is also here. So thank you to all of our leadership for joining us and supporting our community forum. As you might be aware, we have so many different things going on in our district, even right now. Okay? So here we're in Cabrillo High School, and we thank the administration and the staff here at Cabrillo for hosting this event. You might be aware that just over at the classrooms here, we have our Saturday program going on to support hundreds of our students, in addition to so many different extracurricular activities taking place at this school. And then for some of you who might not be able to stay here the entire time, we also have our kindergarten festival, which supports our families who are preparing to send their kids to our elementary schools. So many things going on at Long Beach Unified. This particular presentation is going to be about our parent university and parent and community and student engagement. So you'll see a packet that looks like this in your handouts. This is more or less just a set of slides for you to look at after the event, because I'm not going to go through all of it. But it does reflect and represent some of the top priorities that we have in our district as it relates to supporting you. At the end of the day, when we think about our LCAP, when we think about our plan, when we think about our budget, when we think about how we staff our schools, we think about our students. And in addition to thinking about our students, we think about you, supporting you as parents and as community members, because without the partnership that we have with our families, we cannot fully support the whole child that comes to our sites. So that's the overall philosophy that we have. And we think about serving you in many different ways. Obviously here today, we're looking to enlist your ideas so we can create a plan that can fully support every student every day. But in addition to that, there are other things that go on specifically at your schools. So I'm going to invite you right now to think about your experiences at your schools. How many of you have participated in a parent workshop or a parent education meeting at your school site? Raise your hand. Wonderful. How many of you have participated in a parent meeting, a school site council meeting, a PTA meeting? Fantastic. How many of you have participated in a parent survey, filling out a survey? Or maybe calling a school to provide some feedback to the staff. So many of you are all involved. And at every single step of the way, we think about how can we continue to support our schools in their efforts to support you. And as a district department and as a parent university team, we think about a couple of different areas or priorities this year, right? One is the overarching objective that we have is to build upon all of the wonderful ways that our schools support you so that we can continue to enhance services for our families. And I'm going to talk about a couple. But one of the big ideas for us is we fully understand and empathize with your day-to-day lives, right? Families are busy. Many of you may have more than one job. Many of you support multiple children or support elderly parents as well. It's really difficult, and we know that it's often hard for you to come to our meetings at our schools. And we're sensitive to that. And we think about the hardships that sometimes causes. So we know for a fact that this particular event, just coming here to spend multiple hours with us, is a big commitment on your part. And so we really honor that. A couple of things that we are trying to do as a parent university team then is, if you go on our district website under lbschools.net and click on the parent university icon, which is right at the front page, we've started thinking about different ways to deliver the content to you in ways that are convenient and that accommodate your schedules. So one of the things that we've started to do increasingly is actually offer online workshops. So if you can't attend and you want to access some of the content that our parent coordinators are providing, we have actual online workshops for you to be able to follow at your own convenience, right? So that's one. The other is, as is clear here right now, where we have these we have our multimedia services team here with their cameras, we're live streaming more of our parent workshops. So maybe you're unable to attend the workshop, but you can go on YouTube where the district has its own channel, and you can follow along and participate in that way. So that's the second way that we're trying to do it. The third is going beyond some of the simple ways in which we have attempted to talk to you about how to support your students. So one of the big areas, which I'm sure you'll hear about today, is social emotional supports. When we've done surveys with parents, there's been a lot of calls for additional support for the whole child. And thinking about ensuring that we think about the anxiety some of our children face, some of the difficulties that extend beyond their experiences at their schools and in their classrooms. So many different opportunities for us to try to think about how we can support your families in that way. So just to illustrate, we've embarked upon different partnerships with different community organizations. So we've added new partners, for example, with the National Alliance for Mental Illness in Long Beach, with the Parent Education Bridge for Student Achievement Foundation. Those are just a couple of them, but we have many that kind of cut across so many different areas, tapping on the resources that we have in the community to ensure that we can deliver them to our families. And in fact, if you take a look at some of the fall workshops that we had just recently, we had a series of 10 parenting workshops, for example, offered by the Long Beach Teen and Adolescent Center, talking about anxiety, teen coping mechanisms, parenting teens, teens and drugs, right? Cyberbullying. These are a lot of the issues that you've brought to us as big areas of concern that we've really tried hard with your help and your support and feedback to try to address alongside all of you. So one last thing as I wrap it up. You have your packets, and you'll note that you're going to start receiving many different communications from our district and from your school sites around some workshops that are going to be going on, right? So here are a few of them for spring 2020. You'll get more information as we get these things fleshed out and as the dates go nearer, but I wanted to flag them for you. Some of them focus on math instruction, if you're looking for academic support. Again, talking about anxiety and other social, emotional, and mental health support for students. And then even toward the end of the spring, and as we get closer to the summertime, different activities that you might have and encourage your children to participate in with summer in the LBC. Okay. Again, I wanted to, on behalf of our superintendent and our Board of Education and our leadership team. I want to thank all of you for being here today. That concludes my brief presentation, but I'm going to be around helping to facilitate this conversation and this dialogue alongside each and every one of you. And I wanted to end on this note, okay? So, one of the themes of the LCAP, as you heard, is ensuring that all means all. We want to try to close the achievement gap. That's an important priority for us, ensuring that every student gets the support that they need. And it's not lost on me that we are starting this dialogue on the first day of Black History Month. It's an important priority for our entire district and community. So I wanted to thank all of you for the commitment that you continue to make, and we are happy to support and serve your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning. So it's such a beautiful day to talk about data, isn't it? Always, yes, even when it's raining outside. Appreciate you all being here today with us. My name is Angie Salazar, Angelica Salazar. I'm the Director of Education Equity at the Children's Defense Fund California, and I'm really proud to stand up here with the rest of the planning team. We were just remembering this is our 4th forum that we've done together, community and the district collaborating, and we have learned a lot along the way, and I'm so happy to see all of you here. I was remembering back to the very first forum that we had, and I think I see some familiar faces. Anyone here at the very first forum? Raise your hand if you were here at the very first forum. Just a few people. So anyway, thank you to all who have joined us in this effort to foster space for meaningful community and parent dialogue and common understanding. So I have the honor of inviting you to participate in this activity that we're going to do probably in the next 40 minutes. It's called the Data Equity Walk. And one thing that I think is really important to start off with, Jerlene referenced the event we had in December with Dr. Noguera from UCLA, and he talked a lot about how to make all students' success possible, every student's success possible, right? And he talked about transformation of schools, and also how important it is to collaborate with community. One thing that we didn't talk about in December was any local data looking at LBUSD's progress. But I want to take a moment to celebrate, because there has been a lot of progress in this district. I've been looking at the data now for years, following the district's progress in achievement, school climate, and I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, or any of the school board members, when I saw the data point for the percent of students who are meeting or exceeding the standards in English language arts, it jumped up like 7 percentage points. We're now at about 54% of students, over half, that are meeting or exceeding the standards. And when I think to how hard it is to be a student, you're still figuring out who you are as a person and as a young adult, and you're facing constant pressure to perform, right? That's a great district average. And I know that it's not 60% or 70% or 80%, and we're here to talk about how to get us there as an average, and also on our in our subgroups, because we know not all students are at 54%, but I still want to just take a moment to appreciate the students for how hard they've worked over the last year, and also the educators in this district for how hard they've worked this year. So can we take a moment to, I don't know, clap? That merits celebration and should not be taken for granted. On the other hand, we have also, not to take for granted, the students who are not part of that success yet, right? And again, the reason we're here is to really understand what the data is telling us. And sometimes the data tells us what, but not why. So we're gonna look at what, and then we're gonna talk about why, but some questions will still be unanswered. So the purpose is, again, celebrate the progress of students in Long Beach Unified. And as I was saying, also to identify the gaps that exist among student subgroups and schools, so that can inform how we prioritize how we use our resources in the LCAP and budget. And this is a tremendous opportunity, as School Board Member Benitez said. They're here in the room and they meet every other Wednesday. So it's important that they hear from us. So we're gonna kind of there are 4 stations across the room. They're kind of spread. And in no particular order, but I'm just gonna name them this way. Not everyone will start at the same station, because then there'll be traffic. We have enough of that already in our lives. The broad view. The broad view, that is data from something called the California Schools Dashboard. Raise your hand if you have some familiarity with the California Schools Dashboard, or the data dashboard. Some, yeah. It's new, so if you don't have familiarity with it, that's okay. It's pretty new. It's a few years out, and it's constantly changing, so we have to always figure out what the new colors are. But the purpose of this dashboard is to make data accessible to all families and communities. And it is a creation of the California Department of Education. And I'll kind of go over how to read it. But in the broad view is where you're going to see the big picture data related to student achievement, college and career readiness, school climate back there behind the blinds, which we'll have to open in a sec. That's where you can see how students are performing, student subgroups, and also schools, and you can see the big picture, and the colors all mean something, which we'll talk about in a moment. Then this section over here is the school climate section. And we're gonna take a closer look at school climate. We're also gonna take a closer look at student achievement, or academic achievement, which is over here. And we're gonna take a closer look at parent engagement and voice, which is over here. So again, big picture is what the data dashboard represents, but then we went a little deeper in school climate, in academic achievement, and parent engagement. And that data came from DataQuest, which is another database by the California Department of Education. So all this data is from those sources. I'll just read to you what the dashboard claims to do. It says, the California School Dashboard provides parents and educators with meaningful information on school and district progress so they can participate in decisions to improve student learning. Again, why we're here. An important thing to say about the dashboard is what's brand new about it is, anyone remember the old way that we used to rank schools and districts? It was like a number based on just test scores. It's not that way anymore. Now it's based on those indicators there and on your slide. Achievement, chronic absenteeism, graduation rate, suspension rate, college and career, and then some local indicators like the basics, instructional materials and facilities, local school climate survey, parent and family engagement, access to a broad course of study, and implementation of academic standards. So it's a lot of numbers that go in to churn out the district average and a color for the district. But you can also look by school, and you can also look by subgroups, so that's what's great about it too. So that's the one big difference. The other big difference is that it's no longer like a one-time thing, just the way that the students performed on that one day that they took that one test. Now we're looking at how are students and schools performing on all these indicators in this school year, and did they improve or did they regress from the previous year? So we're looking at, are we improving? And where are we at? We're looking at both of those things. No more just basing the score on one test. So that's what's great about that. Okay, so the California School Dashboard, the colors, this is where it come in. Have you seen this before? Is this information familiar to some folks? Yes? Great. Parent engagement work is effective. It's something that you're getting a chance to see. So I'm going to give my back to you for a sec, but we have 5 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue. If a subgroup or a school or the district has a score that's in the red, that means that's the lowest performance. And then as we get to orange, that improves. And as we get to yellow, that has improved another step. And then green means more improvement. And then blue is good. Blue is great. So that's kind of how this scale works. So when you look at the colors over there, You can refer back to the scale to see, well, what does red mean again compared to orange, yellow, green, and blue. Any questions on that? The dashboard is intended to be easy to understand and interpret, so that's great. You don't have to read all that out. I kind of will give you a shorter version of that instruction. But I did want to actually ask you to look at your packets. Look at your slide number, and they're not numbered, but I'm looking at page 5. It's called 5x5 ELA Report, Equity View of Subgroups. It's the bottom slide on page 5. Once you've located that, I just want to take a moment to explain how this grid works. Again, page 5, the second slide. And I can actually, I forgot I have this. So let's practice. See if you can locate how the subgroup of Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander students are doing in English language arts. Can you locate their color and then just yell it out? Correct, orange. So on the scale, what does that mean again? Great, very low, kind of in the middle, or low to middle, actually. And if you see on the grid, if you look across to the axis that is this way, this axis, it's on low, right? So actually that is low. Orange is low. So that means that their score is low. They don't give you the number here, but it's just so you to know, for you to know the score is low. And then across the axis on the top, what do they match up with? What does it say on top? Maintained. So they earned an orange because even though they're low, they maintained. They didn't go down from 2018 to 2019. So that's how that grid works. Let's try another one. Find foster youth. Yellow. So that's kind of low to medium score, right? Did they maintain, increase, or decrease? Increase. So that's how the grids work, and that's how you'll be able to read those. And the rest are pie graphs, bar graphs that I hope you'll look at, read, and reflect on. So for your instructions, we have about 30 minutes. So I'm going to tell you when 15 minutes have passed, so that way you kind of feel out, have I been through about half of the slides? Should I speed up, or am I going too fast? And then I'll tell you again when you have 5 minutes left and we have 1 minute left. Does that sound good? This is a free flow, so you can start literally anywhere. I recommend you spread out so there's not a bunch of traffic. There is a little bit of a homework for you to do. You all in your packets have 3 handouts called Build Your Own LCAP. And on page 2 of each handout, there's a blank chart called, this column called the data and the stories. So as you go around, let's say that you're looking at school climate, or you're looking at parent engagement, whichever one you're looking at, when you're in the appropriate section, you want to take notes on the data that you're seeing that relates to school climate, that relates to parent engagement, and that relates to academic achievement. So that's where you would take your notes, because you're going to use this data later and this information later to make some recommendations and reflect together as a group. So is that clear? Any questions? If you are missing a handout, please let us know. We'll make sure you get it. Talk as you walk. This isn't meant to be a silent activity, right? So walk with your pals, make new friends, or if you do like independence, that's fine too. But definitely feel like you can talk through stuff. If you have questions, I would like to ask the planners, the co-planners of this event to assist. I was going to ask Robert if you can station yourself at the dashboard, so everyone knows Robert. Nicole, if you could also join Robert in the dashboard. You've already met Nicole. Jerlene, if you can be at parent engagement over here, so if you have questions, these are the folks that you ask. They'll probably prompt you to have a conversation. And then What's left? School climate, Alyssa's already there. Thank you, Alyssa. I think we're good. Oh, I'll be at academic achievement, and you can join me there. So hello? Oh. The last thing I'll say before we depart to this journey, this gallery walk, data equity walk, is that these are 3 questions that I encourage you. If you're kind of sitting there and you're like, I don't know, I don't get it, these are good discussion questions that you can have with your fellow participants. What are your general reactions to the data? What questions do these data raise for you? And what solutions can you think of to address the issues raised by the data? You don't have to answer every question every time, but this is to prompt you to have a conversation with those that you're walking around with. So are we ready for our data? Oh, question. Question was, does everyone need to visit each station? I would invite you to try to visit each station. If you are going at the pace you're going and you visit half, but then that's okay. We'll catch up. If you can't, hello? Test?
Yes.
So we'll do our best to visit every station, yes. Any other questions? Are you ready for your data equity walk? Okay, go mingle. We are out of time for now. Yes. You already have all the data in your packets, so you can return to your seat, please. Thank you. Please wrap up that last comment and return to your seat. I hope you can resume it at another time. We are out of time, unfortunately, right now. Huh? Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I always hate to interrupt passionate conversations about data. But we do need to return to our seats so we can resume and move on with our program. Okay. The folks at the Broadview Data Dashboard, I invite you to return to your seats. They're so engrossed, they can't hear me. There we go. Okay. Awesome, thank you. That was hard to cut off because, again, so much rich conversation, a lot of information around the room. So I have just a few questions to wrap up, and then we're going to move on to our parent panel. But I also want to remind you, this is yours to keep. We can send it to you electronically. You can look up the sources. You can go online on the dashboard website, on DataQuest. So I hope the conversation continues after this day. But just wanted to check in before we move on to ask you what your general reactions were to the data that you just saw and talked about. Any general reactions? Yes. And then, you're next.
The 3 of us were all at the last banner with the student psychologist and counselor ratios, and we already have that problem at our school, but we're really in shock with the real numbers that are up there. And I guess the next 10 minutes of social emotional supports that we're going through, the 10 minutes that we're spending, we're hoping we're going to be able to do a deeper dive later on in the day. Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, you'll receive some information on social emotional supports that exist, and then the afternoon you can talk through how you would change that as a group, how you would recommend to change that.
Hi, my name is Angela, and one of the other things that concerned me is the suspension rate. I was talking to a few individuals on the fact that I think we need to know what the policy is for Long Beach Unified, as to what can get you suspended, because as a substitute teacher, I've always heard that it's kind of like guns, drugs, fights. But at other schools, they're talking about, oh, if you are out of uniform 3 times, you might get suspended. And also, if they're doing on-site suspensions, I think that those numbers might be a little skewed. So we kind of need to figure out what's going on and make sure that everyone has the same kind of consequence.
Thank you, Angela. I saw other hands. We'll take these 3 and then move on to a different question and then move on to the presentation.
I guess for me, the major concern that I was having was with the parents, because almost all of the parent stuff says it's over 80%, but it's kind of hard for me to believe that 80% of the parents are happy with what's going on, because a lot of the parents don't even take the survey. So how can we say that 80% of the parents are happy with it if they never even took it?
Thank you. I saw there was another hand over here. Was he?
So as a black mom with a black son, some of these numbers are really hard to see. One thing I feel like I didn't see was budget, like resource numbers, money numbers, how much money is going towards shifting some of this data. And in particular, when I'm looking at the numbers around counseling, psychologists, school nurses, the lack of them, school psychologists, nurses, counselors, et cetera. Why is that, right? And I think about what the cost is, because what we do know is that, and I'm looking at some school data from maybe just a couple years ago, there was $35.07 million spent on police in schools, and some might argue that that's geared towards some form of school safety. I don't know that I don't know what portion necessarily feel more safe versus intimidated. I don't know. But I do know that it doesn't seem like that $35 million, that financial type of, that level of investment is doing what our counselors, social workers, school psychologists, and nurses do. Those jobs that, because resources are going towards police in schools, are not going to these jobs. Cal State Long Beach is impacted from these types of jobs, and they can't get jobs. And so I'm just like, it's these positions and professionals who build the relationships with our students. They know their issues, they know their families, they know these students. This is the preventative work. Why aren't we investing in the preventative work? I really want to see a divestment from police in our schools and an investment in these relationships.
Thank you, Dawn. Yes, go ahead and then we'll.
Okay. This just to piggyback of what you just said. If we look at the suspension rates and chronic absenteeism, we can link that directly to what you just said, and that's a direct link. That's all I wanted to add. Because if we have these guys working with these students, it's definitely going to have an impact.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I want to begin by thanking, Ms. Angelica Salazar. That's a lot of work that you have done and a lot of work at school. But I only be able to go through 3 sections, and I feel it's overwhelming. And you expect us to do this in 20 minutes while you do your research in 100 days or something, and expect us to understand and comprehend. And I think it's a little bit too much, And number 2, data. Data is objective or subjective. For example, my community don't even understand English. How can I participate in your data collection? So, and the other thing, there's a lot of voice in here. I see a lot, one of my doctor there, I met him many times at CAC meeting, who explained, how the data collected. I see a lot of Filipino, why not Vietnamese, why not China? So why, how we can be objectively speaking that the voice of all the people, I hear all mean all, So all mean that every voice, even the least one, must be taken into account. And last but not least, when I see the data here from the first time when I walk in, on the special aid education, I'm talking about the classroom, my son. They have 17 kids, one teacher and one aide part-time. When the kid acting up, the teacher completely lost. My wife volunteered in the classroom to make sure they have quality education. How, the first group, we have a lawyer here too, who study law here. How can you tell us that the fund been allocated properly to the needed of the children? Okay, can you explain to us? Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, a couple of things, and then we're gonna ask Debbie to come up to do the presentation on social emotional supports, but these are all very valid concerns. And the reason why we have this event is so that we can see what the limitations are, right? And what the opportunities are to make change and to see yourself in the data and to have more supports at schools and to look at the numbers. So I'm happy to say that hopefully you keep talking about the data. It was too much. I know, because I spent the last few days engrossed in it. And I hopefully the conversations will continue. You have access to that, and I hope that you can also give us feedback on how we could do this better next time. But also, in terms of the numbers, the afternoon will be entirely dedicated to looking at excerpts of the LCAP, and Nicole's leading that section, and she would like to say something. I'm sorry? Yes, that we are going to look at LCAP recommendations and hopefully be able to address these solutions to these barriers that have been raised. And I know that not everyone got a chance to talk, but there are a lot of barriers. We celebrated the success at the beginning, and now we see that a lot of students are struggling, and that's urgent. So how do we have the same enthusiasm about addressing those disparities as we do it, celebrating the success?
I'm sorry, I know we're running short on time, but I did want to give some concrete suggestions and resources for some of the comments that I heard. On your comment, sir, about how Asian Americans are not disaggregated, that is a real problem. I worked in Asian American civil rights for a long time. I want to say that LAUSD passed a resolution to disaggregate all Asian American subgroups. The reason we don't have it is because the state doesn't require it. But if you all want that, you all fight for that. You can fight. You can ask the board for a resolution that it will disaggregate. You can also fight at the state level to ask the state of California to disaggregate into Asian American subgroups, into indigenous subgroups, et cetera. On your point on money, the LCAP is supposed to tell you how much is being spent on everything. Unfortunately, it doesn't really, because there's too many things bundled together, so you can't actually see how much is being spent, but that's also something you can ask for. That's what this forum is for. If you want to see the money, tell the district you want to see the money. Unbundle it. The last thing I'm going to say is on this issue of divesting in school police and investing more in counselors. My organization in the ACLU, we supported students in Pomona Unified to do just that, $2 million from school police to 14 additional counselors, and we're coming out with a report in a couple weeks on how to do that in other districts and analyzing the LCAPs of 136 districts. So if you fill out your email and the registration card, I'll make sure you get a copy of that report.
Thank you, Nicole. I have to give one more disclaimer. Thank you for reminding me, Saida. Just so you know, I can't take credit for crunching these numbers. I just made the graphs. So just so you know, the data did not come directly from me, but the choice of graphs did. It came from the California School Dashboard and DataQuest, both from the California Department of Education. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Moving on to a very important conversation about social emotional supports, conversation that's very near and dear to my heart. I'd like to introduce the Assistant Director of Equity Access College and Career Readiness and the Director for the RAP Expanded Learning Program, Ms. Debbie DeDan, and together we'll share some information with you about how we are supporting the social emotional needs of our students in the RAP Expanded Learning Program. Here's Debbie.
Thank you. I just want to really thank everybody for the opportunity to come speak with you. And I was so impressed seeing everybody early on a Saturday morning. It's hard being a parent, isn't it? You know, I know, I'm one myself. And so I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to come out, support your school, support our children. We're gonna switch gears a little bit, and then there was some good conversations going on with your parent forum. I don't know if they'll continue that when we're done, but I know we have lunch planned for noon. Okay, I work for Equity Access Office, and specifically I oversee the after-school programs. And we offer programs for students in the summer, during Thanksgiving, winter, and after school. Here we go, here's our mission. We want to provide opportunities for all our students in academics, social emotional learning. We do recreation, and we want to expand what they get during the regular school day. We work with community-based organizations. They're listed up here. The YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, Conservation Corps of Long Beach, LBCAP, Campfire, ICES, and City of Long Beach Parks and Recs. We service 56 sites currently this school year, and they're listed on the bottom. 54 K-8s and 2 high schools, and Cabrillo is one of our high schools. Our program has 3 components. We have an enrichment component, and when we think of enrichment, we think of academic enrichment and other enrichment. So we help students meet the standards in their core content classes: reading, math, language arts, history, and science. But we also have enrichment where kids have an opportunity to explore visual and performing arts, career, exploration, recreation. And we have physical activity and homework assistance. So how many of you have children in the after-school program? Just a show of hands. So it's about 3 hours, so it's generally about a third in each of these areas. I highlighted in blue social emotional learning because I was asked to come speak to that today. And this is something, a couple years ago, somebody came up to me and said SEL, and I said, I don't know what that means. So it's something that we've kind of been doing inherently. I was a teacher before this position, but in the past few years, it's really come about in conversation in the education world because there's a real need for it to help our students in this area. And so the district has put into place some items. The bottom 3 are district-wide strategies that we've used. The ones on top here, common curriculum. So I mentioned we work with all our agencies in our after-school program. So each agency has slightly different strengths they bring to it. For example, our ICS program is sports-centered. But so these, where it says common curriculum, Smart Fit Girls, Breathe LA, Girl Scouts, Coding, Khan Academy, and ST Math, we call these common curriculum because we have these programs in all our at all our RAP sites. And somebody, a parent, mentioned earlier about the prevention. If I can just bring your attention to the second bullet. So Breathe LA first, it's a prevention activity, so we're teaching students, the challenge is to be the first non-smoking generation. So we're teaching kids the effects of vaping and smoking, and so in our program we build in some of these preventing obesity, preventing smoking, etc. So the bottom 3, what is social emotional learning? And if you look in the pie chart on the right, it goes in those 3 areas. We want to understand and manage emotions, achieve positive goals, positive relationships, and learning to have empathy toward others and ourselves, and not just for our students, but for adults as well. The growth mindset and heart set is something we've been doing district-wide, and I'll have a slide on it in a second. The restorative practices is also something that we are using at the sites. It's for ways for students to resolve conflict, and that's geared a little bit more toward our high school students. And then the Sanford Harmony curriculum that we're doing district-wide as well is for, thank you, is for our elementary students. She told me 5 minutes. So here's heart set and mindset. So growth mindset is a belief that we can become better purposely, mindfully, by practice and hard work. That talent is not just an innate thing, but then we always say in our office, we put the word yet at the end of things, like, I don't have this project done yet. I haven't lost 10 pounds yet. I haven't filled out the college application yet. So it's the opposite of a fixed mindset. And we're teaching that with our staff and with our kids. The growth heart set is really looking at our classroom as a community and helping teachers work with the kids as facilitator and not director. Here's some pictures, and the quote up top is really nice. It has been said, whoever our students may be, whatever subject we teach, ultimately we teach who we are. And you have handouts of all all the slides. Excuse me. Here's some phrases, growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So the phrases on the left are, instead of saying this is what we should try thinking. The bottom one, I just can't do this. I will learn how to do this. Restorative practices, as I mentioned, is a way to help students resolve conflict. We want them to build community, restore the relationship. Sometimes kids, they have conflict and it never gets resolved, as adults as well. And there's 3 components to this program. There's statements, questions, and classroom circles. And here's a picture of some students participating in the activity. They're talking about the problem, listening to each other, coming up with solutions. Effective statements we're asking our educators to use them and our students to use them as well. It humanizes you, and again, as an educator, as a facilitator, and a community partner, not as a director. So you might say, talking in class is inappropriate. Instead, the educator or teacher might say, I'm feeling frustrated that you aren't listening to me right now. I really need you to listen to my lesson. And here's some questions that we actually made cards of these questions for all our RAP personnel as reminders. So when students are having a conflict, we can go through these questions. It kind of eliminates the why. It's more like, what happened? What were you thinking at that time? And what impact has it had? The idea is we want the students to come up with the solutions. And here's some students participating in the circles. The circles can be done as just a check-in. They can be about something tragic that's happened or something good they want to share. In the circle, we are all equal. No one is in front, no one is behind, no one is above, no one is below. We are all related. The circle creates unity. The next curriculum piece we are using is called Sanford Harmony, and this is geared more toward the elementary students. This actually comes with books and cue cards that the students use to speak with each other. Again, the focus themes are for them to do problem solving and build peer relationships. So they call it buddy up and meet-up activities. So the meet-up activities might be more formal. Once a week, you have your kids meet up, or it might be a buddy up, just 2. And I'll go through these quickly. I'm really excited to share this event. This is our 2nd annual sort of culminating event, and we call it Kindness Matters. And we had this event actually yesterday here at Cabrillo High School. So we had two of our RAP high schools, Cabrillo and Jordan, and two of our elementary sites, Lincoln and Whittier, come here together yesterday for a day of kindness activities. And I want to just thank Veronica and Alyssa in the back of the room because they headed this up, and Mari, our site director here. So this was our agenda yesterday. The kids were here. They had a march. They had a drum line, an anti-bullying skit, performances. They built a bridge of kindness. They had face painting, they built a kindness chain of love. And we had our step team from the high schools and Latin dance groups perform. We had a compliment booth, photo booth, and a Crazy for Kindness dance, line dancing. And I'm just going to show you the pictures to end our conclusion, or to end our presentation, and I'll be around for questions. So thank you so much. Alyssa, do you want to explain the photos? They're all really dark. Maybe the
I'll just share that the Great Kindness Challenge is an international program, and we do a lot of activities throughout the month of January and culminate with this big event. And yesterday, my heart was warmed so much to see our elementary school students. We had about 150 students here from Lincoln and Whittier interact with the high school students. The drum line performed, the cheerleaders participated, and the older students really took note of the positive interactions, and there was just a lot of love and kindness and empathy that flowed throughout the day. And you know, it might seem like a simple thing, but to move towards a better community, we have to have a paradigm shift. And for that to happen, sometimes we have to be deliberate and intentional with our activities. And so we need to continue to work with this. I mean, even though it might not shift the data drastically, it does have an impact and effect on the day-to-day interactions among students. And so I would just challenge all of us as we work with youth to emphasize kindness and inclusion and compassion and empathy and embracing differences, celebrating differences, because it does ultimately make a difference. So thank you.
Alrighty, thank you.
May I please ask our parent panelists to come forward? And can you all give us just a moment while we get set up? So parent panelist. Angie, may I pass the mic off to you? So if someone wants to know while we're setting up, may they ask a question? So I'm going to pass the mic to you so I can get the parents set up.
Oh, for Debbie.
Here.
Thought I was off the hook. Sorry. Hi.
I'm confused as to why that was presented under RAP when Sanford Harmony, the elementary program, and the U6 unit and SEL is actually on LBUSD's website, and per our principal and the superintendent and teachers, the SEL element is to be brought into the classroom.
So that's
not into a RAP optional program.
So we have Sanford Harmony curriculum, and our elementary teachers have been trained. And when I went to one of those trainings, I met with the presenter, and it's completely appropriate for after-school programs. It's not exactly what they're getting in the school day. So we have a little bit of a modified curriculum.
It's supposed to be what they're getting in the school day. It's supposed to be implemented into the classroom.
So we're doing a little bit different, but it's still the same. So I go to, they're called LACO advisory meetings, LA County Office of Ed, and so all the after-school expanded learning programs in Region 11, Southern California. We meet there monthly, and we have presenters on particular curriculum and so forth. And Sanford Harmony actually came out and did a presentation for after-school programs. So I connected with them there, and then with our district people. And so to make the program work for our after-school kids.
I understand why RAP is doing it, and I think that's amazing that you're offering it as an after-school program. I think the question might be for a district person as to why is Sanford being presented to all of us under RAP when the school district is supposed to be implementing this into our children's every day. It's supposed to be in our Common Core. It's supposed to be in our classrooms, and it's not being implemented in our classrooms. And per Mr. Steinhauser, it's supposed to be at our classrooms and implemented every day, and it's not being. And some schools have had it for 2 years, and it's not being. It hasn't been rolled out correctly. There's a parent portal, there's a parent welcome letter. We're supposed to know about it, and it's supposed to be happening, but it's now being presented under RAP. I'm confused about that.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to misrepresent, and I can connect you with the district person that implements it at the district level. I was just sharing how we do it in our program.
No, I appreciate your presentation, and I think that's a great way that the kids can get familiar with Sanford, but I'm just wondering why no one in the district is answering right now.
We'll call Robert up. What is there? Oh, here.
Yeah, thank you for that. We wanted to illustrate one manifestation of the social emotional supports, which is why we asked Debbie to come and present. And in her particular case, she had a presentation that was prepared that would be able to address some of the concerns that you have. It was not intended by any means to try to portray the work that they're doing in RAP as the only thing that's happening in the district, but I'm happy to address some of the other questions that you have later on as well. It's not my particular area of expertise, but I'm also happy to take some of your questions back to our district staff so that we can get answers for everyone. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you all for your patience while we get set up. Yes, for time. Okay, I'm gonna ask Nicole and Angie to please come up and join me. And may I have this chair? Go ahead. So I'm asking Nicole and Angie to join just in case there's conversations that come up that I'm not prepared for. So first of all, my name is Jerlene Tatum. I am a parent of Long Beach Unified School District. I have 4 children, 18, 15, 11, and 5. Okay, so I'm sane. So we have a parent panel. Oh, before I start talking about the parent panel, please make sure before you leave today, you complete this participant registration form. This is very important for us to know who was here, okay? And there's also a survey as well that can be filled out to survey, like, what did you take away today? And if you have any comments, so even as we go through the next portions of today, please, keep your survey in mind. And those questions, those burning questions that you may not have time to get answered, please fill those out. Also, if you are unable to stay the entire time, please make sure you turn these in at the registration table. And cards are gonna be passed out as this panel discussion gets going, and those cards are so that you can ask questions for this panel, yet if it's a question that's not specific for the panel, go ahead and write that down as well. But what I would like to ask you, if it is for the panel, write your name on it, because when they are passed this way, I would like to be able to identify the person who's asking the question. Okay, so are you ready? All right, so what I'm going to do, I am going to ask, we are missing a mic. Oh, we got it right here. All right, we're gonna start at this other end. For disclosure, one parent didn't know they were going to be on this panel until about an hour and a half ago. So I just want to thank our brave parent for stepping in and being a voice for other parents. So I'm going to ask every parent to just introduce yourself. You have under a minute to do it, and just like I did, my name is Jerlene Tatum. I'm a parent of Long Beach Unified. I have 4 children. And you can and also list the names of schools if you like.
Hi, everybody. Excuse me if I make any mistakes. I haven't practiced, but my name is Moretta Suniga. I have 2 daughters, ninth graders, a 9th grader and an 11th grader in Long Beach Unified. McBride High School is where they go, so this is wonderful to be here. This is my first time at this event, and I wanted to, I want to participate in any way.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Sherry Willis. I have 7 children. I've raised 28. I have had several kids go through Long Beach Unified. Right now, I currently have 1 that's in Webster Elementary School. And I look forward to your questions today. And this is my first time on this panel.
My name is Dawn Modkins. I'm a product of Long Beach Unified, all the schools, elementary, middle, high school. And I have a 25-year-old who came through Long Beach Unified, graduated from Millikan. And I have a 12-year-old who's here outside who is at Bancroft and came through Emerson. I'm also active in my community and in their school lives, and happy to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lilia Ocampo, and as one of the mothers here, I am also a mother of 7, from 32 to 9, and they are most adult, and my twins that are 9 years old, and they attend Oropesa Elementary School. There are 4 graders.
Hello, so my name is Antun. I'm the mother of the 4 children, and then the old one, the 26, that she took the university at the San Francisco, and then the second one is the 20. He went to the college. And then the third one in the high school for next year in the Western High School, and the fourth one in the kindergarten. So that all my kid is got the successful from the school. Thank you.
Introduce yourself, please. Hello, my name is Dareth. I am the interpreter for her. She will be speaking in Khmer, and I will try to translate into English.
Thank you all for introducing yourself. So I had an opportunity to sit with each parent, and what I've asked them to do is to share a story about their relationship with Long Beach Unified, or their experience. So each one of them has a different story, and after they share their story, they're gonna have to kind of make it quick. It's gonna have to be like a under 3-minute story. That once they share their story, we're gonna go back through and ask them a series of questions. So this is an opportunity, one, for us to, engage as parents. Storytelling is very important, and throughout this process, we've learned this is how we've connected, and this is kind of how we made our way to this day. Also, in your packet, in your Build Your Own LCAP, there is a form that you can fill out to tell your story. So we're gonna begin, and I'm going to start in the middle. I'm actually gonna start with Miss Dawn to tell her story. So I have a timer over here. If I have to, I'll get up and start waving my arms. But go ahead and please share your story.
I wish you could put the timer right here. So my story, one of them, I have several, but the one I'll share is most recent. My son, I asked him, I wish he was in here, I asked him for permission to share this today. This just happened November 14th, right before break. He was discriminated against by a substitute teacher at his school in his health class. She said some extremely disparaging remarks to him. I'm gonna share 3. One was, my son is 6'1", he's 12. He's tall, he's big, he's black. And he was walking into class with all the other kids at the beginning of class, and the substitute was standing at the door, and she's greeting the kids as they're coming in. And as he walks through, she looks at him and she said, "Oh my goodness, I don't trust you." That was the first remark. The second remark, she's giving a lesson in class, she's engaging the kids, she offers for some feedback, and kids have their hands up. My son had his hand up, and she goes, "Oh no, I think, you look like you might be too loud." That was the second one, in front of the whole class. The third one, he was sitting next to 4 of his friends. They're all white, his buddies, and they're having some sex education lessons. She comes over, she engages with them, she shares, "Oh, I have a he's in the 7th grade. She shares, "I have a 7th grader too." And the kids are, "Oh, where's your 7th grader?" And she shared, "He's at Henry." His name. She shared the school he was at. The school where her son attends, my son attended the summer programs there for about 4 years in a row. So my son was like, "Oh, I think I know him." He said his name, and she said, oh yeah, really? From where, jail? And walked away. I had to file this uniform complaint investigation, which I just got the results back on. The school admitted that she violated some ethics codes, but refused to consider some discrimination policies, and so I have to go through this whole appeal process. The school, thankfully, I have been working with the principal and the teachers, and they are amazing. A lot of the resources I've been hearing about today, they haven't even suggested, but we've been working on some other things I could share later.
Thank you, Dawn. I'm going to go ahead and move over to Lilia.
Hello again. Like I say, my name is Lilia Ocampo, and I had 7 kids, 2 of them in Oropesa, and they're twins. They're so different, and they're a boy and a girl. My boy has been facing some challenges because he's short, skinny, so he get picked up often. And I didn't get it at first, but things started as comments when the new president came in office, and they will just say things, "Oh, your parents are going to go to Mexico." And it breaks my heart because, well, the good thing, they don't even understand what does that mean, but they still ask me, they got scared. And I said, "No, we're not going nowhere. You don't worry, we're here, we're not going nowhere." And try to reassure him, and that was just the beginning. And well, those are comments that are made for kids, but also since he's little, he is easy, like push. And I've been working with the school, but it took a long time for it to be like properly addressed, I would say. Our counselor is really good and has been working around, and the way that has been addressed has changed with her. But that's just one of the things. But when it comes to also his school advancement, he is really behind. I also has been advocating for him and trying to get the resources he needs. Am I still there? I'm still there as a process. I'm still working on that. And well, that's what I can say.
Please pass the mic over to Sherry.
I have a student at Webster. He's foster to adopt. He will be my son momentarily. My issue was he was being bullied. And he was being bullied is 2 parts, education. He's kind of slow, so I'm trying to get him assessed. That process is taking forever. because there's so many steps and there's no checks and balances there. For me to navigate, I shouldn't have to police the school, but that's another conversation. The problem is he's a foster child. I'm supposed to have support in the district. Well, how can I have support if I can't find it? And nobody knows where to get it, or no one. I ask and I do my due diligence, but there's no checks, there's no balances, and I can't seem to find where to get it from. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm not going to take up any of your time to tell you a long story. My child has, we're trying to figure out how to get him into an IEP. Because we have interventions, but you have to have a check and balance for the intervention. He's being bullied because he's slower in the class. So there's that. So I should have tutoring because he's a foster child. I should have a foster care liaison. I should have a social worker. I have none of these things. See, real quick, sweet. I don't even need a timer.
Okay. My name is Moretta Suniga, like I said before. I have two daughters that are in McBride High School. And my story is a little bit different to everybody, but I think it's going to hit the middle class, which is, to me, the working poor, right? A lot of us were neglected. My two daughters, they're good students. They have A's and B's, but it doesn't mean that they don't need the help. You know, we do not have resources available for students that are having A's and B's. It's not easy for them to keep those A's and B's, but all of the resources, not to say that that they, you know, the low income, the foster kids, not to say any of those groups or discount any of those groups, but my children stay up till like 1 in the morning to try to do homework, to get it done, and there's absolutely no support for them. I've had to recently, like recent as yesterday, researched out a tutor for my daughters, both of them, only because they have a teacher that doesn't teach, and unfortunately my 9th grader and my 11th grader have the same teacher. And this is in math, which is, and physics, which are tough, tough programs. And one of the biggest things that has happened is my daughter comes home and she's discouraged, right? She said, you know, Mom, we were told that only 3% of us are gonna pass the AP physics test. It really pissed me off, right? Because then it challenges me, it's already a negative. And so it challenges me. Now I want to make sure my child is in that 3%. So I had to pay $70 for a tutor to come in to try to help her just understand the basics so they can take a test. And, you know, a lot of us, we work 2 or 3 jobs to be able to get to where we are, and it's unfortunate that there are really no resources for us. And most of us out there are the working poor, right? Just because we work 2 or 3 jobs, it does not mean that we don't need the resources and the support that the rest of us as parents also have. Thank you.
ខ្ញុំ start និយាយអំពីកូនស្រីខ្ញុំដែលមានអាយុ 13 ឆ្នាំដែលបានទទួលសាលា home school របស់គាត់នៅ Jefferson.
I'm going to talk about my 13 years old daughter who has received homeschool at Jefferson.
So that school ខ្ញុំនៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំត្រឡប់កូនខ្ញុំហើយនៅទៅ pick up កូនខ្ញុំគិតថាដូចជាអត់មានសុវត្ថិភាពល្អសម្រាប់កូនខ្ញុំ
I felt that when I dropped off my daughter and picked her up, I felt that there is a lack of security or safety for my child.
ពីព្រោះដូចថាមាន traffic អីច្រើននៅមុខសាលាហើយដូចវាអត់ safe ហើយណាមួយមានមនុស្សប្រុសម្នាក់បានឲ្យលុយទៅកូនសិស្សម្នាក់ដូចជាដឹងលុយប្រមាណនេះប៉ុន្តែបានឲ្យលុយហើយកូនសិស្សនឹងបានរត់ទៅចូលនៅក្នុងសាលាហើយហៅកូនសិស្សទាំងអស់ដើម្បីមកទទួលលុយពីមនុស្សប្រុសម្នាក់ហ្នឹងហើយមនុស្សប្រុសម្នាក់ហ្នឹងក៏រត់ចេញទៅបាត់ទៅ
There were a lot of traffic in front of the school, and there was a man who was giving the money for the student, and that's ran inside the school to tell other students to come out to get the money from the man, and subsequently the man ran away.
ហើយបន្ទាប់មកកូនសិស្សទាំងអស់នឹងមករត់ឆ្វេងឆ្វាយនៅមុខនឹងដើម្បីចាំទទួលលុយពីម្នាក់ប្រុសហ្នឹងហើយដល់អត់ឃើញមនុស្សប្រុសនឹងរត់ទៅបាត់ទៅហើយកូនសិស្សទាំងអស់នឹងរត់ចូលក្នុងសាលាវិញទៅ
And there were many students who ran outside to look for the man to receive the money, but the man had already ran away, and the student came back into the school.
ហើយខ្ញុំគិតថាអត់សេវសម្រាប់កូនខ្ញុំពេលនោះខ្ញុំក៏សូមបដូរកូនខ្ញុំទៅជា school choice បដូរសាលាឆ្នាំបន្ទាប់ពីនឹងមក
I felt that I concerned about the safety for my child, so I request to transfer the school for my child the year after that.
ចាហើយខាងគ្រូ office នឹងគាត់ថាហេតុអីបានឯងផ្លាស់ប្ដូរកូនឯងនៅនឹងហើយកុំផ្លាស់ប្ដូរទៅណាអីតែអញ្ចឹងណា
And the office, school office asked me, why do you want to change school for your child?
ចាប៉ុន្តែគេអត់មានបានជួយខ្ញុំទេប៉ុន្តែដោយសារខ្ញុំមានស្គាល់លោកម្នាក់នៅ school district ដែលខ្ញុំអាសាទៅប្រជុំហើយទៅ support គាត់នៅ decard meeting ហើយនៅ school board district ដែលខ្ញុំទៅប្រជុំហ្នឹងខ្ញុំក៏សូមជួបនិយាយជាមួយគាត់ទៅហើយគាត់ឲ្យខ្ញុំបំពេញ form ពេញអីទៅដើម្បីសុំ school choice បដូរសាលាចា
The school did not help me, but I know somebody at the district level who helped me to fill out the form to change the school for my child.
ចាដល់ពេលនោះកូនខ្ញុំបានបដូរសាលាទៅសាលា Roger ហើយសាលា Roger ជាសាលាមួយដ៏ល្អដែលខ្ញុំទុកចិត្តហើយកក់ក្ដៅបំផុត
And she get to go to Rogers Middle School, and it's a school that I really feel confident in, and I really like that school.
ហើយខ្ញុំសូមឲ្យ school district ហ្នឹងរៀបចំសាលា home school ហើយនិង school choice ឲ្យដូចគ្នាល្អឲ្យមានសាលាល្អដូចគ្នាទៅដូច្នេះកុំឲ្យមាន school choice អីចឹងណា
I am requesting that the district provide a good school and a home school for the students.
ចាអញ្ចឹងសូមអរគុណ
Thank you all for being so brave. And I'm kind of going to do a little recap, and then I'm going to ask you all some questions. So as I said, I did have an opportunity to meet and talk to the parents, and I'm going to kind of go in reverse. And, you know, she's sharing her story about school of choice, her issue with safety, and she had some major concerns about the condition of her home school. So she utilized the school choice process to move her child. So I'm gonna ask her a few more questions about that. Lilia, she didn't tell all her story. May I share? Lilia, when she was talking about her 9-year-old twins. So Lilia, she shared 6 children, right? 7 children. Your children they all went through Long Beach Unified Schools. One of your children, they're currently working on their master's degree right now, right? Okay. So the things that so what you're encountering now with your 9-year-old, this is new for you, yes? Okay. Don, wow. I don't think I can really recap your story. It's a little bit triggering for me as a black parent with a large, tall, black male. But I'm going to ask you more questions about the process that you've gone through. I had an opportunity to sit with Sherry, foster parent Sherry, and she's got a lot of stories to share. But I'm going to ask you some questions kind of related to, you were talking about like this need for resources, and I know you had shared specifically an issue that you were having with one of your children that had a hearing, hyperhearing. May I ask you questions related to how you've been able to get that resolved or in process of? Okay, so I'm going to ask you questions related to that. And Marietta, who joined us today, as you heard, her story is about academics. So her child, I have a question. Did you utilize a school of choice process for your children to be put into McBride? Yes. So although her children are and McBride, and someone please correct me if necessary, is one of the top performing schools in Long Beach, correct? So you're still having some challenges as a parent with you specifically in math. So I'm gonna ask you some questions related to that. Okay, so let's start with Anne. You said safety. Tell me, how does it make you feel that your homeschool, Jefferson, was not good enough for your child? How does it make you feel?
ដែលខ្ញុំមានអារម្មណ៍ថាដូច school ហ្នឹងដូចវាអនុញ្ញាតឲ្យមានមនុស្សអីមកឲ្យលុយឲ្យអីអញ្ចឹងហើយគ្នារត់ចេញមកឆ្លងខ្លះទៅចេញមកក្រៅព្រូចុះឡើងឲ្យឡានហ្នឹងដូចវាចវេចវ៉ាត់អញ្ចឹងណាហើយឆ្លងពីខ្នល់មួយទៅខ្នល់មួយខ្ញុំខ្លាចថាមានបញ្ហា accident មានអីអញ្ចឹងពួកគាត់
I felt that the school allow someone to came in front of the school to give money to the students. Also, as well, there are traffics in front of the school that cause safety concern for the students.
ហើយបន្ទាប់មកមានដូចអ្នកជិះកង់អីលក់គ្រឿងញៀនអីនៅហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងណាហើយតាក់ទងនិយាយមួយក្មេងដែលគ្នាចេញពីសាលាមកអីចឹង
And there are some who rode a bicycle to sell substance to the students.
ដល់អញ្ចឹងហើយខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យសាលាហ្នឹងទប់ស្កាត់កុំឲ្យមានមនុស្សពីក្រៅមកលក់គ្រឿងញៀនឬមួយក៏លក់គ្រឿងកញ្ឆាលក់អីនៅហ្នឹងទៅដើម្បីកុំឲ្យតាក់ទាញក្មេងហ្នឹងវាមកចេញទិញប្រើទៅវាអត់ចូលរៀនវាឈប់រៀនអីខ្ញុំ
I would like the school to intervene to stop someone come close to the school to sell marijuana to the students.
Okay.
And what's different at the school your child is at now? Like, what's different? I know when you talked to me, you were very happy about your student being at Rogers. Why?
ខ្ញុំគិតថា Roger វាល្អម្យ៉ាងដល់មកគេចូលរៀនគេចូលដល់ក្នុងថ្នាក់អស់ដល់ស្ងាត់ជ្រាបនៅខាងក្រៅអត់មានកូនសិស្សអីនៅញ៉ៃញ៉ៃនៅខាងក្រៅហើយនៅពេលដែលម៉ោងចេញក៏អញ្ចឹងដែរម៉ាក់ប៉ាគេនឹងទៅយកកូនគេតាន់ពេលវេលាដូច្នេះគេអត់មានឲ្យកូនគេនៅចាំអីនៅខាងក្រៅយូរហើយក៏អត់មាន traffic អីរញ៉េរញ៉ៃអីដែរដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅខ្ញុំគិតថា Roger ជាសាលាមួយដែលខ្ញុំកក់ក្ដៅបំផុតហើយជាសាលាដែលល្អដែលដូចថាជាគំរូដល់សាលាឯទៀតដែរចា
I feel Roger is a good school because once the school starts, all the students get inside the school, and when the dismiss time, those students got picked up on time, and there's not much traffic around the school.
Okay, Lilia. Can you share with us, or let's see, I have a question. You began to tell us in your introduction that someone assisted you to get through your son's IEP. Can you tell us more about that? And it was successful, correct? He's now has an IEP?
Well,
Can I get someone that can take a moment just to tell us what an IEP is? Anyone? Or when we use the term IEP, does everyone understand what that term means? I'm going to ask someone just for a moment. I just want you to explain to everyone what that is.
It's a long process, but in general, the IEP is an individual education plan that is it is written and based on assessments that are done, interventions and assessments that are done on students. Is a culminating plan, and it's definitely monitored, revised, reviewed systematically, periodically, but it's a plan that's used to help support the students' needs, and accommodations are created or modifications are devised to help support the students' academic needs and to help the students level the playing field and achieve academic success in their academic pursuits. Very general.
Lilia, please share with us how you made it through that process.
Well, I asked a friend of mine, two friends of mine, to go with me. One was a community organizer from Long Beach Forward, Cindy Brown, and another was a teacher, a retired teacher, Nancy. They went with me, and but that time it was my first time, and the goals were set too high, and they were not met. So recently, I asked for the goals to be more like realistic, and for communication, because my last in his third grade, there was no communication between the RSP teacher and the classroom teacher, and that make a big difference. So I asked for a better connection, and I'm also talking to the teacher more often. Yeah, but that's what it kind of working and getting, like, asking for feedback. I do my part at my house. I have my kid to read to me every day, and I ask the teacher how is it helping, and how can we keep like working together for my kid to get better on his academics.
Why did you request an IEP for your child?
He has an ADHD, and he was having behavior problems, and he was referred to the guidance center, and that's where the psychologists and the psychiatrists found out that he has attention deficit and hyperactivity.
Okay, thank you. One other question to that. How was that determined? Was that determined from him being in the classroom?
The psychiatrists say, psychologists and the psychiatrists try to ask me if I want him to get medicine, but I opt for no and to work with him.
Okay, thank you. Next question is going to be for Don. You had began to tell us about the process that you uniform complaint procedure. Can you tell us how you led up to that, to getting to that, and how did you know about that? And I guess where are you now?
So I did not know what a uniform complaint procedure was. I never, 1 minute. I had never experienced anything like this in the schools, but it happened. I had to have a lot of like restorative conversations and healing conversations with my son at home. I spoke with his counselor. I spoke with the principal. The principal there, who was just taken by it all, felt terrible about it. She shared that this process existed and informed me who to get in contact with at the school district to initiate this process. And so I did that. I filled this out, and I mentioned the results earlier. But more importantly, I initiated, because luckily my son has the mom who he has, right? And not all our big black boys has a mom that's just active in the community the way I am. So I just took some initiative to engage with the principal, with a couple of teachers, just saying, hey, I have some ideas. What do you think about this? And they were open. And we're actually rolling out something next week called Black Lives Matter at School. I'm elated about it. I'm excited that the principal was on board with it, the new vice principal, a couple of teachers. I thought they would do it in a class or two. They're doing it in their entire advisory program, so the whole school's gonna get it. But I'm still a little bit surprised that they never offered some of the programs or resources or assistance that I've heard here this morning that the district has, and they've been supportive. They've been, and I think had they been more equipped and informed about these potential solutions, I feel like without a doubt they would have offered them, and so I feel like there might be some disconnect even for teachers. And so, yeah, you said 1 minute. I think I went over 1 minute.
Okay, so before we pass on, we are running a few minutes behind. So I just wanted to ask everyone's permission for us to continue for at least another 6 minutes. Is everyone okay with that? And lunch, has lunch arrived yet? Oh, so we're good. We're good. Lunch isn't even here yet. So, oh. See, alarm went off. Let's go ahead and move to Sherry. Sherry, please. Yes, Sherry, please share, just real quick, tell us about your son and what you're doing to resolve that.
I have an older son, Mauricio. He has hyperhearing, which is strange. You probably never even knew it existed. Basically, my son can be over there in that building and hear everything I say without the microphone. He had a wonderful teacher, Miss Fo Taylor. So real quick story so you'll understand. He had Bose headphones because he had to have noise counseling. So can you imagine if he can hear everybody in this room? So he had the headphones, and one of the other teachers said, he stole them, we won't get into that. Why does he have these headphones? So Miss Fo sent my son 2 classes away and had the person, liaison, whomever from the district, to say 5 words. My son heard it over everyone, and he asked everyone to please be quiet because it hurt his ears. So imagine a screeching fire truck or whatever. So anyway, long story short, I had to put in an IEP instead of a 504 that he was able to wear the headphones, and he has also had something called assistive technology. Well, to that point, assistive technology had not been on the West Side, people, at all. They couldn't even find a school. Those are resources that we have that are not offered to a lot of our children that are on this side. So I had to fight to get it, and some other things, and he ended up getting it, the earphones and the iPad and things that he needed.
What is assistive technology?
Assistive technology is your iPads, your headphones, anything that you can think of that will help you with his education. Like he also had an issue with his hand. So in writing, he couldn't write with the pen a lot because it hurt his hands. So they offered other children iPads and things like that at that time. Him being on the West Side, they were like, oh my God, what is he going to do X, Y, Z? And I just kind of looked and I'm thinking to myself, sweetie, I work on a ship. I promise you I can afford one. But again, that's a whole nother conversation. Like I said, the district has resources. It goes back to that. They have resources. We have to figure out a way to help other parents and help to figure out how to get to the resources, whether it's counseling, whether it's whatever it is. It's how do we get to the resources? I would have never known if someone didn't tell me.
All right, the next question is for Marietta. Marietta, did you get... We're going to open up for some, but I'm going to write that down, okay? Can you share, did you get an opportunity to look at all the data during the data walk?
Yes, I did.
Did you, and I did not get a chance to, and I don't know what happened to my experts over here. Are you familiar with the data related to the Pacific Islander community at all?
I looked at it, and I happen to know that is kind of one of those communities that are kind of fall through the crack because there's not enough for a lot of advocacy, but there's, in this area, there's a lot of APIs. So I also am part of the Asian Pacific Alliance Labor Board, which is why I know about it, but I think this needs to be more educational resources for that community.
Okay, I'm actually having her look up some information related to the Pacific Islander community.
So in your packet, if you want to look at the English language arts scores, they're on page 14, and you said you wanted to reference the Pacific Islander score specifically? Yes. So if you, for English language arts, it's 14 plus 19, so what's that? 43% are meeting or exceeding, and that would mean that 57 are below, not meeting the standard or below the standard.
Do you have the math data here as well?
Yeah. The math data shows, what's that, 37% meeting and exceeding standards, and then 62% not.
So one of the conversations that I had briefly with Marietta at the beginning, we were talking about resources specific for different categories. And just as you heard just now, there is a deficiency within math within the district. You've said that you've paid for your own tutoring. Have any other resources been extended to you as a parent?
So, you know, at the school itself, they do have the tutoring, the math tutoring. Unfortunately, I've had my girls attend that, and basically they feel that they really don't tutor them. They just help them with homework. And they need that if the teacher is not teaching in a class, you know, the kid is never going to figure it out, right? And so the problem is there really needs to be real tutoring and not just somebody supervising the kids in case they don't know how to work one problem. And that's what my daughters encounter all the time, because my 9th grader has the same teacher, and she's in geometry, and my older daughter is in physics at AP Physics with the same teacher. And they both go through this frustration of having to kind of teach themselves and go on Khan Academy, which we all know, you know, is the resource that they have to address. So I've been able to get a tutor, which, you know, not everybody can afford a tutor. There's like 4 girls that we've tried to keep together. We rotate at the same school, and you know, not everybody can afford that, and I can't afford it long term.
Okay, due to time, I am going to attempt to wrap up. And then I'm going to ask each of you to take 30 seconds, and you can do one of 2 things. So I'm going to give you a moment to think about it. You can either share words of wisdom for other parents, because although all of you have stories, I know there's success stories behind all of your stories, because I've heard some of them. So you can either share some of words of wisdom to other parents and guardians that are either here or watching, or you can make a recommendation to the district. Okay, so you get to choose. So thank you all for being so brave. As you all see, there's so much, we need an entire day of this and like breaks and different things. So how many of you have questions? Can I just by a show of hands, and do you have question cards filled out? Because I've been told I have 5 minutes. Okay, so before we do the questions, we're going to do the 30 seconds, either words of wisdom or recommendation from the district. Team, do we want to collect these question cards? How do we want to go about doing this? Okay. If you have a question card, please toss it over in the toss them in the basket, pass them up. All right, we are going to start with Ann. You have 30 seconds. Words of wisdom or recommendation for the district.
We
talk about the parent experience.
យើងនិយាយអំពីអ្វីដែលយើងមានអនុសាសន៍ដល់ក្រសួងអប់រំឬក៏ជាពាក្យអ្វីដែលផ្ដាំផ្ញើដល់ពុកម្ដាយបាទ
ខ្ញុំគិតថាខ្ញុំជាឪពុកម្ដាយដែលរស់នៅទីក្រុង Long Beach នេះ
I feel that I am a parent who lives in Long Beach City.
ហើយការខ្ញុំដែលមូមករស់នៅទីក្រុង Long Beach នេះខ្ញុំទៅតែមកពីប្រទេសខ្ញុំហើយខ្ញុំមកជាជនភៀសខ្លួនហើយ ខ្ញុំអត់បានដឹងច្បាស់លាស់អំពី system នៅស្រុកអាមេរិកនេះទេ
I came from Cambodia as a refugee, and I didn't know the system in the United States well.
ហើយពេលនោះខ្ញុំអត់បានជួយកូនស្រីខ្ញុំបានដិតដល់ទេ កូនស្រីច្បងខ្ញុំដិតដល់ទេពីព្រោះខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងប្រព័ន្ធ system គេនៅក្នុង school district ហ្នឹងចា
Due to the lack of knowledge, I didn't get to help my oldest daughter fully when she started school in Long Beach.
ចាហើយពេលនោះកូនខ្ញុំចេះតែបានទទួលសម្បត្តិពីសាលាពី school district អីមកញឹកញាប់ហើយខ្ញុំក៏អត់មានលទ្ធភាពនឹងអាចជួយនាងបាន
And we received a lot of notice from school, and I didn't have the ability to help my daughter.
ចាដល់ពេលឥឡូវនេះខ្ញុំបានធ្វើការជានៅក្នុងសហគមន៍ខ្មែរយើងនៅ Long Beach ហើយបន្ទាប់មកខ្ញុំបានទៅប្រជុំនៅខាង LCAP meeting, LCAP meeting, school site council and school district board, and then I know a lot about how the system that can help my daughter and my son go through and successful. Yeah.
She got it.
Okay. So thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Ann. 30 seconds, recommendation for the district or encouragement for other parents? Words of wisdom. Both? You're going to do both? Go for it.
Parents, be there at the schools for your kids, volunteer, attend meetings, learn so you can help them. And district, there is a lot of miscommunication between service to be providers and the students and parents. So this needs to be like more looked at and make sure that whatever is programs are implemented.
I don't know, it feels like a lot. I think what's inspiring me to move a message towards the district is the results that I got back from the district, from the investigation of this discriminatory act committed by the substitute, but it's full of discrepancies in their whole process. For example, the 4 boys friends of my son who was sitting with him, when the teacher walked away, the 4 boys were like, whoa, that was racist against you, right? And here they're claiming that my son claimed that it was racist, and he did not. They said they investigated 18 students, and then in a different section, they said, well, according to the 25 students that we investigated. So I was like, is it 18 or 20? Anyway, it's full of discrepancies. I feel like our district has to be more genuine, more authentic, more invested. They have to fight for the resources to equip the teachers, the staff, make the arguments for the counselors, for the school psychologists, for those who are on the ground closest to our kids, to equip and resource them better. And if you're so frustrated, folks at the district, and I'd encourage others to communicate this to them too, if you're overwhelmed and frustrated and not in this work for the right values and sets of principles to really improve our children's education, then go away. Like, I don't know, find something else to do, but like, reground in making sure that our kids are equipped to lead our country's future. And I'm not seeing it, so I don't know if that was a recommendation or just a complaint. I don't know.
Recommendation and or words of wisdom.
If I could implore anybody, if there's anything you take away, your kids are your #1 priority. That's why we're all here. Fight for them. Look for it. If you can't find it, turn over a rock, look under it, figure it out. If someone tells you no, someone will eventually tell you yes. That was my words of wisdom. For the district, it was kind of to piggyback on something someone said over there. Instead of policing, how about we have some preventative measures? How about we have an open forum? Like, this is a wonderful thing. We're diverse. We're eclectic. We are all here.
What if we all put all of this energy into our kids and into having a voice? Like, let's have a voice. That's if nothing else, let's have a voice. They have to listen to us. At the end of the day, I hate to say it, we pay our taxes, we pay them. If they were in our house doing a job and they didn't do their job right, we would fire them. Let's raise our voices and figure it out. That's it. There's no long speech from me. Let's do something. I don't care what it is, just do something.
I just want to say, you know, I'm from a minority group. I'm Chinese Samoan. My husband is Black and Panamanian. And so my kids are like the in-between. And I have kind of worked really hard to really kind of have them fit somewhere, right? And education has been one of the things in the forefront for some of us to try and help them with that. And my inspiration is your voice counts. Your voice counts as a whole, not as an individual. And so advocacy is a lot of help. But I want to say to the district that I'm a minority group too. And just because my children have A's and B's, it doesn't mean they didn't work hard for it. And why should we wait until they're failing to have resources to help them? I mean, this is, you know, for me, so thank you.
Okay, we have time for 2 questions. So thank you for those who submitted the cards. I'm gonna take the one question. I believe you also wrote it down, but one question was written down twice. So that's the question we're gonna ask. But before we do that, surveys, registration cards, don't forget that part. I wanna thank our panelists. Okay, I wanna thank Ann and Lilia and Don and Sherry and Marietta and our interpreter for being here today. And appreciate you. Keep fighting, keep being a voice. So the first question, and I don't know if we necessarily have to take it from the panel or if we can take it off the panel. What is a 504B? You want to answer, Nicole, or do you want to answer? 504? Who wants to answer that question? That was the one we had multiple here. Can you just real quick tell us what a 504 is?
A 504 is not like an individual assessment plan. Basically, a 504 is a medical need or something like that. It's something to facilitate your child, is to help your child. Basically, my child needed headphones. I have another child had needed water or something like that. It's not as restrictive, I guess, as, because I can't speak to the school part, I'm just a parent. So when the 504, it basically implemented things that the district had to accommodate my child with in a quick, that's the quick version of it, yeah?
Okay.
Rather than just behavioral, exactly.
Okay. Well, the other question that we're gonna actually, I'm gonna allow the person to ask because I don't want to ask it. It's on a card, and I don't want to ask it because someone may throw something at me. Please
Hey,
stand
Sherry,
and.
I totally agree with you that they need to hear us, and that's why we're here today. Earlier in the morning, we had the privilege of meeting many board members and the leader of today's LCAP discussion, and I would like to see how many of them are still in the room. I did see that you walked in shortly, but I also saw you outside for some of this presentation. So I'm so sorry to call you out on that, but this is really important to me today. Where are the rest of those board members? Because I think we all just talk to ourselves right now.
Thank you for being brave and sharing that. I am gonna kind of, Robert, I am gonna thank him for being here. I know he stepped out, but he has been a true partner in this, and he has sat at the table with us, and sometimes we have not been very nice. So he's still here, but thank you for being so brave. I apologize that I'm going to have to shut it down because I've been told that I need to shut it down. There will be opportunity for some more question and answers toward the end. Angie, yes? So there'll be some opportunity for discussion. Please write your questions down on the form that you've been given. All of that information is collected. All of it is typed up, okay? So whatever you give us today, it will be taken and it will be read, and hopefully it will be used. So Nicole is going to give some directions, and then you all can grab lunch. It's going to be a working lunch. Please grab your lunch, grab a seat, and we're going to roll into the next part of the program.
All right, let's give a hand to our panelists first. That was an awesome panel. Thank you all. Thank you, Jerlene, for your awesome facilitation. I want to acknowledge that there's all these questions that were not named. We're sorry about that. We will write them up and write responses and email that to all of you. So again, please write your email in the exit survey so that you can receive the responses to some of these questions, as well as all the materials that we had today, and that we can continue the conversation. It's been a long morning. I know there's been a lot to take in, so we're going to take a short break to get lunch. But after that, I would like you to think about which breakout area you'd like to go to and go sit there for lunch, because we're going to have a working lunch. Over here is going to be academic achievement. You should look for me and Robert, who are going to be over here. If you're interested in school climate, if you're interested about the counselors, the suspension rates, the chronic absenteeism, go over here. You will be with Angie and Martha. We haven't gotten to introduce Martha yet. Martha, where are you? Okay, Martha from Latinos in Action will be over there, along with Angie. And then if you're interested in parent involvement, kind of come in this area right here and look for Jerlene, Alyssa, and Betty, who we also haven't gotten to introduce. So please take a moment to think about where you want to go, grab some lunch, bring your handouts, please, and we will probably start that in about 15 minutes.
Regarding lunches are available over here. We have a few vegetarian lunches for those of you that ordered them. So if you didn't order a vegetarian lunch, please don't take one, because the ones that did order won't be able to get one. Thank you.
Everyone for sticking with us. Can everyone hear me? Yes? Okay. I used to work with high school age students, so I'm all about checking for engagement. Are you still listening to me? Okay. So thank you all for all the thought you put into developing recommendations to make our schools more responsive to students' needs, to families' needs, and other people in your community. In the next 10, 15 minutes, we're going to hear what other groups were talking about. They might have some very concrete recommendations. Some may not. I know I was a part of a group that was very creative and therefore had a lot of different things to talk about. I'm very excited to share. But we'll be able to hear from everyone, and afterwards, we're going to do a little bit of a reflection about this process for today, and then we'll talk about next steps. Because in order to see those recommendations in writing, in action, it's going to take more conversations and more work. So we're going to start to talk about that, and then we'll close. Okay. So with that, I'm going to call up the school climate and student engagement breakout.
Okay, I'm Angela, and we had these recommendations. To improve school climate, we thought of follow through from 2019 goals, and we recommend to hire more social emotional support staff. For instance, the 1 to 250 counselor to student ratio, the 1 to 500 to 700 psychologist ratio, and the 1 to 250 social work ratio. And we said that we need to hold district accountable to these numbers. Structured program involving parents and community members to offer mentoring, thank you, for prevention and support groups focused on arts and sports. Building off the VIPS program, so making sure that community members are going ahead and staying connected with the students so that we are holding everyone accountable. Involve parents in the performance improvement plan designed for students. staff training on implicit bias, on how to respond to bullying, and on social emotional supports. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Can we have academic achievement next?
Folks can see me from over here, right? Because I need to look at our notes. So our group was on academic achievement, and I had asked Lilia, and we had a teacher in our group who's been teaching for 20 years. And so just our whole group, like we kind of, the primary outcome landed around restorative justice / transformative justice as a tool that we can use to increase all of our academic achievements and try to close gaps and shift the statistics that are most negatively impacting the marginalized groups that we see around the room and on the walls, our English language learners, homeless folks, foster folks, our Black children, and primarily our Black boys. And so using restorative justice, transformative justice as a tool to engage, as a tool for our teachers and students, and even local administrators, principals, counselors, as a way to engage differently, to open up space to hear students differently, to create space to give them room to say what they need, what they want, how they're feeling. And by doing that, that allows the students to feel more competent, to feel more comfortable, to feel more seen and heard, and therefore more motivated to engage differently. And so using that, having that tool, also creating some metrics around that tool also allows space for accountability on teachers and how they're engaging with students differently. And so we can't just say hold our teachers accountable towards what, right? And then there's issues with unions maybe in there. And so using this as a tool to engage differently, shift the statistics, create some metrics around restorative justice, how, measure how often they're engaging differently, what that engagement looks like, how we're assessing it, measuring the outcomes by looking at the shifts in the statistics, and developing those metrics with the students, developing those metrics with the teachers so that they feel some ownership in this process, include parents in that process. By doing all this, we're creating an entire culture shift. And I feel like there was, and then so how are we gonna resource this if we're talking about adding transformative justice counselors or funding other counselors to help be part of this process, or to stipend parents to be part of this process? If we're spending $53 million on police, if we have 3,000 cops in the district, cut that in half and fund these positions that way. That was one option. Am I missing? Is that it? And thank you, we had 2 youth in our group that also contributed, significantly, made the points around the importance of teachers making space for students to say what they need and be genuine and authentic about that request, and playing basketball with them like our teacher does with his students. So that was important, and thank you guys. Oh, yes.
We also talk about early intervention is very important. It starts since the kids are start as possible, kindergarten, so we don't have this problem in the future.
Thank you. We're now going to do parent involvement.
Hello, I'm Jerlene, and I am part of the parent involvement. I'm going to be reporting out, and I've asked Lee White and Maritza to come up as well. Ours isn't all pretty like theirs is over there on the wall. So parent involvement, I would kind of say it's kind of been, can you two come over this way? Make sure you guys are in front of the camera. Parent involvement has pretty much been like the theme of this entire workshop. I mean, the reason we're here is because you guys are all involved at some level or not. So in the building your own LCAP, parent involvement is a crucial part. So we began by reviewing the state priorities like you all did in your committee, and then, but we also talked about, does that really reflective of what we believe parent involvement is? And we kind of talked about, like, who are the parents and guardians and who's left out? And we also reviewed, according to the goal of the district, schools will be safe, inviting, engaging, and supportive places for students, parents, and staff. And we kind of broke that apart to say, is that what's really happening? But our main tool that we reflected upon was this survey results that you all saw during your data walk that says pretty much all the groups are 90% content, or parents are 90% content with all subgroups with what they're experiencing. And the first question that we asked was, who completed that survey and who didn't complete that survey? And is that really reflective of the full population? So, okay, state priorities. We were asking, are we asking the right questions? Our the survey. So the survey is the tool that is used to measure if schools will be safe, inviting, and engaging. So we kind of went back and said, well, first of all, are the right questions being asked? And are there other measurement tools that should be included? Like one of the panelists earlier today talked about how she moved her child from her neighborhood school to another school because she didn't feel that it was safe. So are incidents like that included in this measurement tool? And we talked about, step to the side, Lee, behind you. Oh. Okay, so we know that anyone who did not take that survey was not counted. So who probably was left out? Working parents, some foster parents, grandparents, due to limited communications, parents with time restrictions, parents without technology and language restrictions. This is also, the question was who was left out of the parent engagement conversation. And when we said, well, why are they left out? Communication tools, not all the tools. We know that the district has provided many tools, text messages, flyers, meetings, but when we did a raising of hands and we talked about one specific item being shared, one learned from a text, one learned from a PTO meeting, one learned from a flyer, and the rest of the parents did not know about the program at all, which happened to be a program that was supposed to help resolve the communication tools. Okay.
Do we now want to share about some of the two solutions? Sorry.
So the reason I asked Maritza and Lee to come up was, yes, we talked about some of the issues and challenges, but we also wanted to talk about some of the solutions to increase parent engagement. So Lee, will you please share one?
Okay. One of the solutions would be, all of you all here are parents or parent and families, members who are involved and interested in supporting our schools. So then the solution would be, let us in this room be the leaders for our schools and talk to other parents, let them know what is available for them to get involved. And when there's a survey, encourage them to survey. One of my things that I used to do as a very active parent was stand at the front gate and give out information and talk to parents and send them to places where they can get involved. One more thing, I'm sorry. Another thing is to lead the leaders. In our community here, in the Cabrillo community, we have lost all of our PTAs, for instance. And that's because leaders need support. We need other leaders. And when we don't have that, it gets pretty overwhelming. So if we had a way somehow to partner with other schools that are doing well and can have some kind of a mentorship or just support, I think that would help build our community of leaders in our schools.
Hello. So just quickly, something I actually forgot to mention as a result of the communication barrier, our school actually went paperless last year. So that's another issue that a lot of people don't have access. The flyers aren't going home anymore. And I did give some numbers just reflective of our school and to help give the group a better understanding. Our school at Webster, we have approximately 600 students enrolled. We have 70 families that are part of the PTA, or 70 members of the PTO, the PTO. And a handful of those are staff. This year, we did start alternating meetings. We do morning meetings, and then we do afternoon meetings to try to get more staff, support staff and teacher involvement. What else? And so, the other thing for me was, it's like a one-liner goal, and it's measured by that percentage. However, the district developed it. It wasn't a collaborative effort where parents and students and staff where their input was taken into consideration. So I think we need to look at our goal and our metrics. For example, like, what does that goal entail? Like, there needs to be more than a one-liner for us to meet that goal. Like, okay, how do we get there? Okay, we know what the goal is. How do we get from here to there? And just want to thank all of you for being here because this is how we stimulate change.
So I just wanted to kind of add to what Maritza was saying. So maybe the survey is not enough. And so thank you, Lee and White, for being examples of what parent engagement looks like and being an encouragement to other parents to get involved.
Hi, my name is Marta Cota from Latinos in Action, and I'm a grandmother. I have one kid on Washington and another on Head Start. And I'm very happy to be here and listen all the things and suggestion of how to improve all the things with a student. At this time, I'd like to know if you have some reflection about all the job you did today. If you have some reflection, no shy.
I really appreciate having the opportunity to meet with other parents, grandparents, and community members in a forum like this because we're able to share what's happening at our school, but also learn what's happening others and get some recommendations that we can come back to our schools and make a difference. And it's encouraging because I think more people can get involved. The more we know, the more we can get involved.
I'm glad that I decided to come today. I came not knowing what it was about. I came wondering, why would a meeting be this long? It must be important, so I'm gonna go. And it said for staff, parents, and students. I wanted my girls to come just in case. And they did hear the panel stories. And my daughter was actually at Jefferson when that happened to the other lady's daughter where she had to move her. And I remember when that happened, and that was terrible. So it made me feel like we're all going through the same thing, and we're all here for the same reason, and that's to make things better. And also I liked the encouragement. I was in the parent involvement group, and I had talked about how I wasn't as involved as I used to be because of the change in staff, and how every school doesn't follow a certain policy on getting parent involvement. And now I'm not involved as much as I used to be. And the people here just like really encouraged me to start that again. And hearing everybody's stories and how they're feeling about this meeting is also very encouraging.
So when I came here today, I actually thought we were going to be, when I saw accountability on the flyer, my understanding of that was we're going to be discussing budget and how funds are appropriated. And that's what I would like to see eventually as a result of the information gathered here today. I don't want it to just go get filed away somewhere. I want us, since we have a good group here, I want us to be able to set a goal of how do we move forward with this information? What comes next?
I think that we did a good job here. We talk a lot and we come together. I want to invite parents to invite another parents to get involved and to talk about your story, to share stories, to find people that have the same story, and to become together. But because I think that's the way we can move things forward and change things. That's it.
Thank you, Lilia. Can I say something real quick? I put up a sign-up sheet over there because of those who are saying that they would like to stay involved and don't want this information to just live on these sheets of paper, but rather turn into action. We were thinking maybe we could form a work group of those folks who would like to meet again and look over numbers, look over the budget, and have a discussion to look at the recommendations made today and how to package them and take them to the school district, to the superintendent and the school board members as LCAP recommendations. So there's a sign-up sheet over there. William already signed up, so please put your name and email before you leave if you'd like to reconvene in a smaller setting.
I'm one of the vets around here, and honestly, I started to leave thinking that it was going to be a joke. Lilia, she talked me into staying. I see Sherry out here, and I learned a lot. Reflecting back on everything that happened today, it was nice to see some of the staff out here and still out here and people from the community. However, in the long run, we would like to see more of the staff staying through it and some of the teachers, or better yet, the principals coming out to these events so that we can not necessarily badger them about what's going on in particular school, but to learn how to communicate, because we have a very diverse community, especially on this side. We have English speaking, we have Spanish speaking, we have Tagalog, Cambodian, and unfortunately when flyers go out, they only go out in English and Spanish. And you have a lot of grandparents who are taking care of kids who they don't answer the surveys because they can't understand them. I mean, it's nice that, and I chewed Robert out, told him that he drew the short end of the stick, that's why he was here the whole day. But then I see the superintendent's here, and hopefully I get to gnaw on his ear a bit. But all in all, this was impressive. Honestly, I didn't even think this many people would come out or this many people cared as much as I did.
So I'm going to piggyback on Marita's point. She was one of the panelists where she said that
on the LCAP, sometimes groups go misrepresented because we have this wonderful formula that we came up with in 2013 that says that most funds should go to underrepresented or what is the term we use? Like high need students, but then that leaves behind the rest of the group. So I think maybe that's something in and of itself that needs to be revisited. So we also talked about data transparency and actually reflecting like the bigger picture. So this is more of a request that these graphs are nice, but as a parent, I would like to see like year over year change or some sort of comparison. If we started with this formula back in 2013, how has it changed? So if our suspensions rate is 70% for the socioeconomically and disadvantaged in 2019, what was it in 2013? Because that's going to show me, is this formula working? Like, are we allocating the funds, and is that actually having an impact on the groups that it's being focused on? So as a parent, that would be like a great thing to see for next year. Like, how does this year compare to the prior year, and maybe pick an interval, a reasonable interval, like maybe 2, 3 years, 5 years, I don't know.
Thank you. Are we going to wrap up soon? Is it time for one more?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to reflect on the fact that I'm going to piggyback on your piggyback. So I'm from Carver Elementary, and we're a middle class to higher middle class school. We have high scores. We have a low percentage of minorities. We have a low percentage of foster children, if any. We have a low percentage of at-risk children. But all of our children need social and emotional development. We get very low funding because of the facts that I gave you. We get very low funding. We run out of crucial supplies. We hold board meetings at the last minute so that we can keep our school running. Robert was very empathetic when I talked to him about my concerns. I love his words of a full plan for every student every day. All means all. I don't feel we're getting that at our school, and maybe at some other schools that would be the same, but we are forgetting some schools that come from different circumstances. We struggle with our budget. Our budget's going to be lower next year, and we'll have to cut some things. Our PTA pays for things that the school should be paying for, or that the district should be paying for, and we lose out on stuff for our children. But when everything comes down to it, all of our children need social and emotional development. Group 2 said early prevention. Early prevention comes from something that our district has. We have a social and emotional development program. We have Sanford Harmony. Why is it not being implemented across the entire district? Why is it that only if your principal is pushing this is your school implementing this into your school day? I know it's an extra 10 minutes that we're asking of your teacher, but do we want to make a difference now, or do we want to deal with this in middle school and in high school? Do we want to put a Band-Aid on it later? Do we want to make a difference now? What are we going to do about this, and why is this not being mandated across the entire school district? I don't understand that. That is my reflection for the day.
Thank you.
Thank you for those of you who spoke at the end to share your feelings and thoughts and your ideas from participating today. There's a lot of information to digest. I think we have all learned a lot today. We spent a lot of time together. Thank you all. And I don't think I currently can even begin to synthesize the different themes I heard today, the different viewpoints. It doesn't mean everyone here agreed with everything that was said, but we all were respectful and we all listened to each other. And we'll all continue to learn when we leave this room. And I wanted to turn everyone's attention to something that may seem really bland and boring. That was the title of this whole community event called the LCAP, which we defined early in the day, and we probably maybe forgot about it at some point. But it is one of the tools that we have to come together, to workshop ideas, to look at the budget, to come up with solutions and make recommendations and have our input received and hopefully taken. So I have to plug the LCAP for you all. So I will let you know that based on what the district has shared, their development timeline for this is on April 15th, the first draft of the LCAP is released. On the first week of June, this is a little tentative, but around June is when there will be the first public hearing for the LCAP. And the hearing after that, or the board meeting after that, around June 17th perhaps, is when the board will vote on the LCAP. Between April and June, the LCAP goes through a lot of revisions and a lot of drafts. I know Robert has made 4 or 5 different drafts every year, because sometimes things come up, people give recommendations, and they're implemented. But between now and April is a lot of time. We didn't plan this in February just for fun and randomly. We planned it in February on a very strict, tight timeline because we wanted to give us all enough time to be able to come back to continue working on the things that we started talking about today. So there are different ideas, I think, that people might have. I think people start to form relationships or friendships. Maybe you met someone you didn't know today and you felt less alone. This is very flattering. Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. I know I implored my breakout session, the parent involvement group, to please come back to continue working out all the solutions you started to name already while talking about what isn't working. You already know what works. You have to just build it out. Probably attach a budget figure to it, and then that's something that can be presented to the district. Hopefully before April 15th. So it goes into the LCAP in its first draft. And we'll have plenty of time to learn from Chris why something was implemented or why it wasn't implemented, because he might surprise us with an answer. There might be constraints that we don't understand, but we need time to know what they are. But if we're there early enough at the table, we can still talk about it if we want it to happen. Maybe we'll find some other solution and a way around the barrier. So with that, I'll stop, but just want to encourage you all to consider how you want to see the visions you had become real. They're not going to happen today, but we need you to, we need you to come back. How are you going to take ownership of the recommendations and solutions you gave out today? So with that, please note on your exit survey what kind of things you want to be involved in. Do you want to learn about the LCAP? Do you want to have a study session and a party on April 15th to see what the LCAP looks like and find your recommendation? It's 200 pages, probably, so we will need all of us. Do you want to form a work group and deep dive into topics that we didn't even get to discuss today? Do you want a town hall format to talk about issues so the district answers your questions? Think about different things that you're interested in and what you need. And I hope you write it down on your exit survey. When we designed it, we only asked about a town hall format. But there are so many other things that you can do to stay involved. So please write down what you're interested in so we can follow up and keep inviting you to long meetings, very long meetings, where we get a lot of work done. Also a reminder, please sign up with your email and name. Please exchange info with your neighbors. You know now who is also willing to spend 6 or 7 hours on a Saturday to talk about the things that you also care about. They're part of your community, and I hope you feel less alone. Yes.
film. But I didn't know if you were finished, Betty. If we could get into thank yous. And also primarily thank you for being here again. And we hope to see you again in the work group. Do you want to close us out, Betty, or Jerlene, maybe?
Outside, there's a beautiful selection of books. If you want your book, you need to turn in a survey and a registration form. We have people out there right now. See all those books on that table? They are amazing. I believe all of them are hardbacks too, right, Angie? And they were donated by the Children's Defense Fund?
Donors of the Children's Defense Fund.
Donors of the Children's Defense Fund. Oh, see, look at them. Picture books. So please make sure you complete your surveys and your registration forms. And I don't know how many, is it just one book per person?
I think we have enough for one per person, maybe two.
Yeah.
You can negotiate that on your way
Yeah,
out.
one per person, but if you hang around till everybody got one, you may be able to go get a second.
Thank you, Jerlene. Can we get one last round of applause? And thanks to all of our presenters, volunteers, to all the co-planners, and all our organizations. Thank you. Have a great day.